So I was having a conversation with a friend, and we were having a big discussion about things that she admires about me, and I was mentioning things that I found very proud of her as well. So we were getting into a conversation about values, and I was reflecting on a lot of the people that I met, smart people, people who I thought were just silly, people who had a lot of skills, people who still figuring themselves out, and a lot of us are trying to figure ourselves out. And it made me think about the kind of values that we should have versus what we actually sell ourselves short on or are willing to sell ourselves out on because we don't have enough principles for ourselves, which brought the question in my head: do you live by your own values? Do we, on a regular basis, live by our own values? And no, I'm serious. I'm serious. Do Could you honestly say that you have embodied particular principles that will make you strong so that when you are coming up against a trial in your life, you could actually advance? It was a very interesting thought that I had. Now, I can't really speak about how it would be for you, but I'll think about how I was able to put things together for me to have the kind of life that I can say that I can walk on and I can be proud of, but also be proud of the kind of person that I am. So I guess I'll tell you about how I did mine. For one, I'll say it the way how it was put to me. You got to write that shit down. People say that you have to write your dreams out loud and everything. And the truth of the matter is that the same thing goes for your goals. You need to be able to create goals that you can actually say are your values, your key principles. But most of all, when you write down each value, and I can't tell you how many values you want to write down, you write down as many values as you want. I would start light, but you can write as many as you want. And then if even what you can do is you can work on each value over time. But just be sure that when you are writing these values down, these core values, these core goals for yourself to have for yourself, that you make sure you write them in your own words, because they're your goals, they're your values, they're not someone else's. I guess the second thing is that once I had them written down, I had to think about why were they most important to me, because now I made it real. It's here in the flesh. I could turn around and make some change, but I wrote these things down. So I'm wondering, why did I want these particular values, right? Why do you want your particular values? And I have to admit, it was a little tough. It was a little tough to really do that self reflection into who I was really trying to become. And that really comes down to that whole who's your hero. And I don't really have that kind of thing. So I had to look at it and saying that I need to be my own hero. So I had to think about what kind of person did I want to be for the future? And then what kind of guy was that going to be like? And if I wanted to be that type of guy, what is it that guy has right now that I don't have? I can't remember where I heard it from, but there was a saying that said that who you are to be, you are now becoming. I wish I knew where I heard that from. Who you are to be, you are now becoming. So if I'm thinking about the person who's going to be for the future, I have to ask myself what qualities did that person have that I don't currently have now, and how can I work towards having them? It was the only way that I knew that I could put myself on a path of alignment to be able to meet my goals, and I knew that it was going to be very important for me to understand myself. Things that I realized quickly was that the first step was already a rough one. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little bit difficult, and I knew that I had to make decisions that were having the values that I first put down put into question very quickly, because these values were going to be guiding principles for me, just knowing which direction I was going to be walking in life. And I had to take them seriously enough, because they need to be the same things that were going to sustain me over time. And because I put myself through the paces with that, if I felt like I was forcing a value that wasn't really fitting with me, I I had to abandon it. It just wasn't working out. Maybe it's something that I really thought I can have for myself, but it just wasn't working out. Or that particular value was just too big for me to take on at the moment, and I need to scale down to something a little bit easier. And that was part of my testing phase. The testing phase was really important because incorporating all these different values is the only thing that gives you self-awareness. And for me, for someone who worked in the kind of field that I did in in risk management, it was like I needed to be able to create an assessment for myself so I could look at the things that I do on a daily basis and be able to evaluate, to assess if the values that I set into place were really the things that I could live by. I had a lot of errors. I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of errors, but I was able to overcome those things because I was able to break down why I was having those particular holding points and why I couldn't get by them once I was able to discover new things about myself. And the things that really didn't work out for me, like I said, I abandoned them or I substituted them for other values that weren't as difficult until I was able to meet those challenges. And as I said before, because this happens even when you're trying to substitute values that you're trading in for the ones that not really working out for you, is that it can't be done through external influence. You can't you can't let someone else's virtues be yours. It's because here's the thing. You'll be trying to mimic someone else's virtues, and that means you're kind of almost taking a part of their life and trying to make it part of yourself. And the truth of the matter is that you're not going to be true to yourself. I'm a little terrible at this, but I guess if I'm going to put a big thing for myself to recap on, is that there were things that I had to put into place that were a set of key values. I pretty much made particular steps to ensure that not only the values that I accepted were things that I know I can fit for myself and also be proud of those things, but also in the fact that they were things that I could implement in an alignment of my of where I want to go on a day-to-day basis by assessing myself. And when they met up, I was able to move on to the next one because now I had fully incorporated it. These things were very important to me because these were the things that made me, you know, forgive a lot of things for myself, understand my flaws, and be able to overcome those things. It made me a better person. It made me a better leader. Most of all, it gave me a sense of pride. I could feel very comfortable in knowing who I am. I don't think that's something that a lot of people can say for themselves. Maybe they have a particular confidence, but I don't think a lot of people can say that they are actually proud of themselves. And I am. But you tell me if basically you are actually living by your own values. And if you haven't really figured out what values you really want, I hope that you take some of the things that I've talked about that I've done for myself and you implement something for yourself. Start out small. It doesn't have to be a lot of values, maybe three, four. Put out three, four, five. How many values? Let's start out low. Pick three values for yourself. You can expand it, whatever, but start with three. And try these things on a regular day-to-day basis to make sure that they're actually part of who you are, that you're not trying to fake values that aren't yours, because they should be able to come naturally. And when I say become naturally, it's a matter of repetition that you're putting into place so that they can fit easily within your box. But because you faking it, you doing it like that will annoy you. If it's the easier it is for you to do, the more that you know it's something in your alignment. Just saying, could help. That's all I'm thinking about. Like I said, I had the conversation and I thought it was a very interesting one. Anyway, that's gonna be my time. And I hope you guys are actually going to taking care of yourself. I'm just trying to set things together so that we can have a more functional one-on-one with each other. But until then, you guys stay safe and you stay authentic, and of course, stay opinionated. Till next time.